डॉक्टर नवीना जाफा और संगीत नाटक अकादमी की ओर से सुविख्यात संस्कृति एवं कला की विद्वान, शिक्षाविद, संस्था निर्माता, विद्वान और वक्ता, पद्म विभूषण से अलंकृत डॉक्टर कपिला वात्स्यायन की पहली पुण्यतिथि के अवसर पर आयोजित इस 2 दिवसीय कार्यक्रम की दूसरी संध्या हम आपका स्वागत करते हैं। Namaskar. On the occasion of the first death anniversary of the eminent Padma Vibhushan awardee, Dr. Kapila Vatsyayan, I welcome you to the second evening of the 2-day program which celebrates the life and works of Dr. Vatsyayan. Dr. Kapila Vatsyayan was the first woman Rishi Acharya on Indian culture and arts, cultural administrator, educationist and scholar, and so much more. She placed the Indian performing arts on the world map. This 2-day event is curated by Dr. Navina Jaffa and sponsored by संगीत नाटक अकादमी। आज डॉक्टर नवीना जाफा प्रस्तुत कर रही हैं हिंडोल दर्शन एक एहसास। हिंडोल दर्शन, an audience with a swinging fragrance. This evening, using their creative imagination on the symbol of Jhula, the swing, 30 performing artists, art historians, thinkers on culture decode Dr. Vatsyayan's journey through their distinct performances and emotional words. पद्म विभूषण से अलंकृत डॉक्टर कपिला वात्स्यायन भारतीय इतिहास, संस्कृति और कला की पहली महिला ऋषि आचार्य के रूप में विख्यात है। As mentioned earlier, she was a cultural administrator, educationist, institution builder, scholar and dancer all packed in one. आपको असंख्य राष्ट्रीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय पुरस्कारों से सम्मानित किया जा चुका था, जिनमें प्रमुख हैं द रॉकफेलर अवार्ड, कांग्रेस ऑन डांस रिसर्च अवार्ड इत्यादि। Apart from various schemes to assist the growth of performing arts and artists, she was the one who presented T. Balaswaraswati as a singular embodiment of this living tradition, with a family lineage going back 7 generations. She nurtured legends like Pandit Birju Maharaj and Dr. Yamini Krishnamurti. In her role as the Vice President of the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, Kapilaji explained to the world that the Guru-Shishya concept of living tradition is unique to India. इस आयोजन का मुख्य उद्देश्य है कपिला जी की वैश्विक भारतीय कला विरासत का स्मरण करना, जो भारतीय प्रदर्शन कलाओं की महत्ता को उजागर करती हैं और जो विश्व में मानव सोच और संबद्ध विषयों की नई धाराओं को सींचती है। प्रस्तुत है हिंडोल दर्शन एक एहसास। We present Hindol Darshan, an audience with a swinging fragrance.
Mataji, because of the motherly affection she showed me, and so many other Tibetans. I deeply appreciated her interest in and support for our efforts to preserve Buddhist culture, and also her forthright approach in dealing with important issues. We have kept in regular touch over the years with each other, and last met in November last year in New Delhi. She was also a towering figure in the field of Indian arts and culture. She lived a meaningful life of 92 years, during which her dedication in the service of the nation was an inspiration to all.
Namaskar. We welcome each one of you to this very special homage and tribute to an iconic, perhaps the first woman rishi who has to her credit a huge number of books and scholarships, institutions, and nurturing of many, many thousands of artists and creative communities, Dr. Kapila Vatsyayan. We begin this homage by thanking His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who wrote a message, blessed this particular platform as we begin to decode through a metaphor of the swing, the jhula, the hindola, her karambhumi, her domain of action and performance. This is not just one person's collaboration, but it is actually the offering by over 30 people who have contributed in this lockdown to the making and offering the tribute to one in many. Let us begin with decoding the metaphor of the swing, why was chosen, and what the layered understanding of her mind will be illustrated in this. And we will have for us Acharya Srivats Goswamiji from the Chaitanya Prem Sansthan telling us how we have come together to be a part of a garland of offering. This particular effort has many creative impulses, expressions, writings, and performances. So be a part and pay the homage to Dr. Kapila Vatsyayan.
प्राणांतक ग्रीष्म ऋतु के बाद जब वर्षा ऋतु में जल बरसता है, पुरवैया बहती है, तो हम उन फुहारों में मात्र जल नहीं, जीवनदायी रस को प्राप्त करते हैं। हवा पुनः उत्साह का संचार करती है, जीवन एक उत्सव बन पड़ता है। घरों में, मंदिरों में, बगीचों में, वृक्षों पर झूले पड़ते हैं, हिंडोले गड़ते हैं। यह हिंडोला झोटा खाकर आगे पीछे झूमता है। रस्सी से बंधी पटरी पर बैठ के झोटा लिए जाते हैं, पैंग बढ़ाए जाते हैं, गीत गाए जाते हैं। यह अद्भुत झोला या हिंडोला एक ओर सत्व रज तम की रस्सी से और दूसरी ओर सत चित आनंद की बटी रस्सी से बंधा हुआ है। पटरी हमारा जीवन है और झोटा लेना हमारा कर्म और कर्तव्य है। पीछे जाएं तो अभाव, आगे झोटा खाएं तो भाव, पीछे अज्ञान आगे ज्ञान, पीछे मृत्यु तो आगे जीवन। किंतु यदि हम दोनों छोर समान गति से झोटा लें, दोनों ओर समान गति से झोटा लें, तो झूला आनंदमय हिंडोला बन जाता है। जीवन एक उत्सव बनता है। ऐसे ही एक हिंडोले का नाम है सुनाम धन्य कपिला वात्स्यायन, जो लोक और शास्त्र, पूर्व और पश्चिम, प्रयोग और विमर्श, धरोहर और आधुनिकता, कला और प्रशासन, पांडित्य और आध्यात्म, उदारता, अनुशासन इत्यादि संस्कृति के दो विरोधी प्रतीत होने वाले छोरों तक समान गति रखती थी। मानव जीवन को कपिला जी ने रास की दृष्टि से देखा एवं जिया। रास में सभी द्वंद्व समवेत नृत्य करते हैं। द्वंद्व उनको आंदोलित करने के बजाय आनंदित करते थे। हिंदोल का एक अद्भुत आंदोलन ही कपिला वात्स्यायन रूपी उत्सव के रूप में भारतीय संस्कृति को उपलब्ध हुआ।
The dead, dry summer gives way to a new impulse existing in the soul of nature. It enters the arena of new life, defined by the easterly winds, pregnant with moisture. Swings hang in temples, homes, gardens, trees, swaying with the elements. Like a pendulum back and forth, the swings present the measure of rhythm and time. The plank in the middle, with coiled ropes on the sides, a self-motivational process starts. The intriguing cadence of the coiled rope on one side, representing attributes or gunas, sattva, dominated by constructive intentions, rajas, dominated by emotions, tamas, dominated by chaos. The other rope on the other side, representing the winding movement of Sat, Chit, Anand, existence, consciousness, and bliss. Moving backward indicates the realm of incompleteness, ignorance, and death. Swinging forward reflects inspiration, exploration, search for knowledge, and life. The most venerable Kapila Vatsyayan was a synonym of such a blissful swing. Her wide-ranging research on contrasting knowledge domains was conducted with a zest for exploring, resolving conflict, and arriving at an equilibrium. A swinging, dynamic revolution manifested itself as a festival named Kapila Vatsyayan, contributing and blending in the cultural geography of Bharat, India.
The little girl, Kapilaji, got introduced to two great masters of Indian dance, Sri Achan Maharaji and Guru Amobi Singh Ji. Pandit Achan Maharaji, born from the Kathak classical dance, taught her one aspect of mathematics and so much more. And Guru Amobi Singh taught her about the elements and form of the human body. This little girl was called Bitya or daughter by Pandit Achan Maharaji as she swung into the river of knowledge. His son, legendary dancer Pandit Birju Maharaji, has written a jhula, the swing, as a poem, looking at Kapilaji as a little daughter swimming in the knowledge river.
कपिला जी की याद सदा बनी रहेगी और आज भी है। बहुत घरेलू संबंध, क्योंकि मेरे पिताजी अचन महाराज उनको बेटी बेटी कह के उन्होंने बहुत सिखाया। तो मेरी तो गुरु बहन हुई, वह गुरु बहन थी मेरी, मतलब उनको समर्पित है मेरी छोटी सी रचना झूला के ऊपर। लोगों झूला न झूला में यशोमती वारी जाए, तो उसका जो रूप जो है, कृष्ण को झुला रहे हैं और उनके प्यार में वो एक झूला गा रहे हैं। लोगोवा लोगोवा झूलवा झूलना झूलावे, लोगोवा झूलना झूलावे, यशोमती वारी जाए, यशोमती वारी जाए, लोगवा झूलन झूलावे, यशोमती वारी जाए, यशोमती वारी जाए। देखी देखी गोपिन सब मोहे, देखी देखी गोपिन सब मोहे, देखी देखी गोपिन सब मोहे, कजरा माथे लगावे। ये लाइन पर याद आता है कि जो दीदी अपना काजल मुझे यहाँ लगा रही हैं, देखी देखी गोपिन सब मोहे, कजरा माथे लगावे। याद आज भी आ रही है। लोगवा झूलन झूलावे, यशोमती वारी जाए, यशोमती वारी जाए, यशोमती वारी जाए।
This little girl, who has to be now swimming, has suddenly entered the darkness. She's contemplating, she's searching, she's swinging to find the light. In the potentiality and symbolism of the monsoon, she sees the seed, and we hear the music as a tribute from the great master, Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, trying to capture the little Kapilaji's mind as she's searching and swinging in the darkness to find knowledge. And yes, as Kapilaji moves from the darkness towards light, searching, she breathes, she stops, she contemplates. Those who look at her get inspired. We have the well-known exponent of Kathakali, Sadanam Balakrishna, who comes with the padam. Oh, I looked at it. I looked at this noble soul, and my heart was swinging in bliss. Following which, little Kapila is sitting on the swing. Does she go this way? Does she go that way? Her mind is wavering as she's moving forward. This dilemma of negotiation while swinging is portrayed as a tribute by Dadi Pudamji and the Parzor Foundation's tribute in the form of puppets.
Hola.
the rhythm. She hears the cosmic rhythms and the swaying of the energies. Some way it comes out as mathematical geometries. Yes, it is Nataraj dancing in the temple of Chitambram. And in that visit to Chitambram, she sees a little girl, this famous legendary Bharatnatyam dancer, Yamini Krishnamurti. Kapilaji often would say, if I saw Shiva dancing in his glory, it was by Yamini Krishnamurti. Yamini Krishnamurti, after many decades, in tribute to Kapilaji, gave us this little contribution of her homage. I'm walking, I'm swimming in the knowledge of the knowledge river. Sometimes I'm confused, and sometimes I wonder and question. I need your protection, says Radha. Come on my swing, says Krishna. We watch a very beautiful tribute by the Manipuri exponent Preeti Patel, following which the idea, oh, how do I translate this geometry of energy into my body? Do I meditate on a mandala? Do I meditate on a yantra? The whole idea of processes of meditation and energies decoded by Professor Lamtin, the Vice Chancellor of the Tibetan Central University, through the Kal Chakra Mandala. Watch on.
This is my humble tribute to Kapilaji. Kapilaji loved Manipur and she loved the dance and the music traditions of Manipur. This song is sung in the festival of Chulon Yatra in Manipur. Here, Radha and Krishna are seated on a beautifully decorated swing, and the gopis are pushing the swing gently. In this song, Srimati Radha says that the swing is moving so fast. Oh Krishna, I am scared, I'm afraid. But Krishna says, don't be afraid, Radha. I am there to support you and to keep you in my arms forever.
Don kanne haire panam nikle Radha ki jalvana. Don kanne haire panam ikai ki khang trena lep phao ngam trena don kam haire panam tang jagan mi
The dead, dry summer gives way to a new impulse existing in the soul of nature. It enters the arena of new life, defined by the easterly winds, pregnant with moisture. Swings hang in temples, homes, gardens, trees, swaying with the elements. Like a pendulum back and forth, the swings present the measure of rhythm and time. The plank in the middle, with coiled ropes on the sides, a self-motivational process starts. The intriguing cadence of the coiled rope on one side, representing attributes or gunas, sattva, dominated by constructive intentions, rajas, dominated by emotions, tamas, dominated by chaos. The other rope on the other side, representing the winding movement of Sat, Chit, Anand, existence, consciousness, and bliss. Moving backward indicates the realm of incompleteness, ignorance, and death. Swinging forward reflects inspiration, exploration, search for knowledge, and life. The most venerable Kapila Vatsyayan was a synonym of such a blissful swing. Her wide-ranging research on contrasting knowledge domains was conducted with a zest for exploring, resolving conflict, and arriving at an equilibrium. A swinging, dynamic revolution manifested itself as a festival named Kapila Vatsyayan, contributing and blending in the cultural geography of Bharat, India.
The image of a mandala that you have seen above is a very sophisticated creation of art. Mandala, in fact, is that you find either in two dimension in the form of painting, or painted or created with stone dust, or sometimes you can find three-dimensional mandalas. In fact, the mandalas are the abode of deities, and these perform as the basis on the basis of which the practitioners visualize the mandalas, and during absorption and a post period of absorption, swinging to these two time, but it is culminated at the end of their practice that the swinging of absorption and the coming out of absorption, post absorptions are disappeared, and both of these situations become one. So that is the culmination of the practice. So this represents a very, very high and sophisticated art, depicted the spiritual status of meditation depicted in art. Professor Madam Kapila Vatsyayan, she has projected Indian art in a very sophisticated way to the international platform, depicting its profundity in such a manner with the great details and the deep understanding and philosophy behind the paintings and art of mandala. So I pay my homage to Madam Kapila ji for her great devotion, for dedication and the contributions that she has made with respect to culture and art of India. Thank you.
After the dry spell of the summer, there's stillness, and the energies and the seeds are getting prepared. Come the idea of women swinging in the environment. There's the Rajprabha festival of Orissa. And just in the spring was also the Dolna festival also of Orissa. And then comes the monsoon rain, and there's hope, there's joy, there's fertility. And in that swinging of energy comes Tej, and he sings so first we have the wonderful, well-known dancer Madhuri Mudgal recreating how the tempo of the swing is translated in the rhythms of dance and form, something which engaged Kapilaji very much. But after Madhuri Mudgal comes the idea of Shashwati Sen bringing the mystical rhythms of existence in the poetry of Kabir as she looks at the very weave of swinging, following which the Sufis call Hazrat Amir Khusro, rendered by Ustad Iqbal Khan and his daughter Wusat Iqbal Khan. Let us see how the swing moves into a choreographic energy of love, energy, women.
Namaskar. Today we remember one of the greatest personalities of our times. Kapilaji knew me since my birth. Her mother, Annaji, and my father were close associates. And she was one of the first students to enroll in the Gandhara Mahavidyalaya, which was started by my father in 1939. Since then, till the life's journey, till the end of the journey of both mother and daughter's lives, they were closely associated with the Vidyalaya. Kapilaji was one who brought the concepts of Indian tradition to us, to especially the dancers. Much of her work centered around articulating the underlying essence, synthesizing all the arts: architecture, sculpture, painting, music, dance, literature, from aneka to eka. Today's concept of jhula that is given to us as homage to Kapilaji. There are two major festivals of Odisha, the Jhulan Jatra and Raja Mahotsav, which actually have the jhula as the center theme. But in terms of Odissi dance, I would imagine jhula, first of all, in terms of the undulating torso movement that forms the part of Odissi that identifies it from the other styles. Apart from that, what we call jhula in the Odissi context is a combination of bols with a lilting gait, swinging syllables, so to say. For example, Dei kartak dheni dha tu na tet tak dheni dha tu na dha dha te nakatati te nakatati dha dha te nakatati ta ta te nakata de katati ta ti te katati ta ti de katati nakatati te katati nakata dakadhati kadheni dagadhati dagadhati nakadheni dagadhati nakadheni te katati theni nak Thininaka, Thininaka, Teikatatin, Thininaka, Thininaka, Thinak, Dinda, Ta, Dini. So on. So these bowls just have a lilting gait. It's not a fixed composition like an arasa or a paran, thoda tukra, but simply the gait, the undulating gait that identifies it, and we call it jhula in Odissi parlance. Apart from that, various aspects of Odissan culture, the language, the textiles, the sculpture, the temples, the gamakas of music have this lilting gait, the swinging aspect. That's very clear. My humble homage to the memory of Kapilaji. She will always live in our hearts.
Jhula or swing is perhaps the most common element of joy all over the world. Perhaps it allows us to self-evaluate life, our successes, our failures, and again our aspirations and our dreams soaring sky high, memories past and present, joyful and somber, our gains and our losses are all reflected in its movements. De dol dol, matar koreto. Let me lose my senses in its undulations. Kahat Kabir, सुनो भाई साधु, पिया को ध्यान चित लाओ रे, कोई प्रेम के पेंग झुलाओ. These beautiful lines of Kabir have been tuned by Maharaj Ji and sung by Deepak Maharaj. My homage to Didi.
प्रेम की पेग झुलावे, कोई प्रेम की पेग झुलावे, भुजे के खंड प्रेम के रस में, भुजे के खंड प्रेम के रस में, तन मन आज झुलावो रे, कोई प्रेम की पेग झुलावे.
झूला किलने ढालो रे अमरैया, हो झूला किलने ढालो रे अमरैया, झूला किलने डालो रे अमरैया, झूला किलने डालो रे अमरैया. दो सखी झूले दो ही झूलाए, और चारों मिल गईया भूल भुलैया, झूला किलने डालो रे अमरैया, झूला किलने डालो रे अमरैया. रेन अंधेरी बादल का
झूला किन्ने डारो रे अमरैया, हो झूला किन्ने डारो रे अमरैया, झूला किन्ने डारो रे अमरैया. दो सखी झूले दो ही झुलाए, चारों मिल गईया भूल भुलैया, झूला किन्ने डारो रे अमरैया.
Be gentle with the earth, said Guru Omobi Singh to Kapila Vatsyayan ji, and then began her thinking that culture is really the human response to geography. Her constant meditative understanding in her body of work is with ecology and the 5 elements. She created in the IGNCA, which was conceptualized as the Indian Smithsonian in her mind through the Indian identity, she created these monumental exhibitions. Let us see how the Hindol Mahal of Mandu, against a contemporary Raza painting is recreated by the thinking iconic Kathak dancer Prerna Sharmali, touching on the five elements and ending it with the swinging paran, or the sound of the five elements in the idiom of the metaphor of swing, following which, inspired by Kapilaji's writings, we have Vijay Dasmana, who is a rewilder. Human actions are destroying nature, and here is this person inspired by Kapilaji's work, and he goes forward with his body of knowledge, applies it, and today the poetry of rewilding has resulted in the recreation of the Aravali Biodiversity Park. And after that comes the silent dialogue with breath, human form, and the five elements in the dance of the Kathak exponent Vaswati Mishra. Watch on.
Nature's five elements also denote the many facets of the personality. धा तिट धा धा तिट धा धा तिट किड़ धा तिट थेता कदा थे किट धा दिन किड़ धा दिन धा तक धा दिन तकिट थे किट धागे देगे नग तिट कतान तकिट थे किट धागे देगे नग तिट कता तकिट तागे तरक देकिट धान धा तकिट थे किट धागे देगे नग तिट कता तकिट तागे तरक देकिट धान धा तकिट धागे देगे नग तिट कता तकिट तागे तरक देकिट धान धा कत्त धा कत्त धा कत्त धा कत्त धा कत्त धा कत्त धा घेंत धा घेंत धा घेंत धा.
Life in our dry deciduous jungle oscillates between high energy to low energy existence. Like when you come into winters, everything lulls down. The grasses have dried out, the landscape looks parched. There is no activity, much activity of animals, insects and birds. But when spring comes, suddenly you find the dry twigs burst into new flowering. And there are immense flowering that is happening all over our landscape. Then comes monsoon and you will find huge bird activity, you'll find huge insects activity, and then that represents to me new life. That represents to me high energy existence. So in our jungles, there is a swing between this high energy mode of the monsoon to a low energy mode of the winters. And then spring is a time when it is in it's picking up, and then again in monsoon it peaks and then it goes down again. For us, when we rewild and restore, this is what we appreciate and this is what we bring back to a parched, destroyed landscape. We try to bring the seasonality of our landscape, its beauty, its dependence, interdependence of different life forms. That's what we try to bring in our effort to rewild. And this is what she represented to
कोई प्रेम के पेंगे झूला दे, कोई प्रेम के पेंगे झूला दे, झूला दे, झूला दे, झूला दे, कोई प्रेम के पेंगे झूला दे, प्रेम के पेंगे झूला दे, भुज के खम्बे रस की डोर से, भुज के खम्बे रस की डोर से, भुज के खम्बे रस की डोर से, तन मन आज झूला दे, कोई प्रेम के पेंगे झूला दे, कोई प्रेम के पेंगे झूला दे, कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो, कबीरा
So the dialogues of with the elements and the geography also is about how human beings can only get together when they have their collective energies in such a beautiful companionship and teamwork. In Tamil Nadu, you have a ceremony during the after the wedding where the young couple is made to sit on a swing and rice is thrown and songs are sung, unjal. But this idea of teamwork she recreated in the number of institutions which she pushed to create that space for culture and civilization, Indian civilization, CCRT, the Sarnath Institute, and many, many others, including IGNCA. We have Sudha Raghuraman from the Carnatic music tradition rendering Unjal. Come, Goddess Meenakshi, bless these young couple on the golden swing. Unjal.
கண்டூஞ்சலாடியிருந்தாள் காஞ்சனமாலை மனமகிழ்ந்தாள் கண்ணூஞ்சலாடியிருந்தாள் காஞ்சனமாலை மனமகிழ்ந்தாள் கண்ணூஞ்சலாடியிருந்தாள் புன்னூஞ்சலில் பூரித்து பொன்னூஞ்சலில் பூரித்து பூஷணங்கள் தரித்து பொன்னூஞ்சலில் பூரித்து பூஷணங்கள் தரித்து ஈஸ்வரனிடத்தில் ஆசைகள் ரொம்ப வைத்து ஈஸ்வரனாரிடத்தில் ஆசைகள் ரொம்ப வைத்து கண்ணூஞ்சலாடியிருந்தாள் காஞ்சனமாலை மனமகிழ்ந்தாள் கண்ணூஞ்சலாடியிருந்தாள் கண்ணூஞ்சலாடியிருந்தாள்
In her later life, Kapila Ji, unfortunately, became not only very frail in her physical state, in her physical body, but was losing her eyesight. Perhaps it was the time for her to start her internal journey, Antar Yatra. And in this Antar Yatra, the communication, as if she was hearing the sound of Om, the sound of unification of being. This has been rendered as a tribute by Subhadra Desai, and she sings a poem, a song written by Gorakhnath Ji, Siddh Bhajo Onkar. Following which, we have Adi Shankaracharya's Bhaj Govindam, where Jayaprabha Menon recreates the journey of the mind through the journey of a drop of water on the lotus. Yes, but her mind is still churning. And so the Baul, Madhusudan Baul sings, go breathe and contemplate on the Kundalini. If you go too high, you become an ascetic. If you go too low, you become captured by your senses. Stay in between this chakra and you will experience bliss. This section ends way into the fetus, where the ocean begins and ends, through the rendition and tribute by a young Assamese dancer, Anvesha Mahanta, who performs Satriya and performs the Leela, the act of human existence.
सिद्ध भजों का सिद्ध भजों कार अबद कायाम जन सारथी सिद्ध भजों कार अबद कायाम जन सारथी कायामंजन सारथी कायामंजन सारथी शिखर भीतर नाद बाजे शिखर भीतर नाद बाजे आत्मा दिन रण जागे दिन रण जागे शिखर भीतर नाद बाजे आत्मा दिन रण जागे दिन रण जागे नाद सुन सुन लागी डोरी आत्मा दिन रण गोरी सिद्ध भजो सिद्ध भजो सिद्ध भजो सिद्ध भजो
ದತ್ತಿ ತೊನ್ನಂ ತಗುಗುದಗ ತಗುಗುದಗದಿ 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 ತಗುಗುದಗ ತಕ್ಕದಿ ಕದಗದಿ ಕಡದಗದಿ ತಗಿಣ ಗಿಣ ತಗಿಣ ಗಿಣಗಿ ತಗಿಣ ಗಿಣಗಿ ತಗಿಣ ಗಿಣಗಿ ತಗಿಣ ಗಿಣ ದಕ್ಕದಿ ಕದಗದಿ ಕೆಡದಗಿ ದ ಕತಿ ಕತ ತಿ ಟೇನ್ ತಕ್ಕಿಟ ಗಿಡದಗಿ ತಕ್ಕಿಟ ಗಿಡದಗಿ ತಕ್ಕಿಡ ಗಿಡದಗಿದೆ ತಕ್ಕಿಡ ಗಿಡದಗಿದೆ ತಕ್ಕಿಡ ಗಿಡದಗಿದೆ ನಳಿ ನೀದಳಗದ ಜಲಮದಿ ತರಳಂ ನಳಿ जोग कुलकुंडलिनी मूलाधार जोगी कुलकुंडलिनी करे जगा উঠাও এখনি তারে জাগাও উঠাও এখনি শত চক্র ভেদে ওঠো নির্বিবাদে শত চক্র ভেদে ওঠো নির্বিবাদে নির্বিবাদে ভাসো ভাসো দিদলে ভাসো ভাসো দিদলে চক্র ভেদে নিম্না
A pilgrim, a mendicant, who knows? But quite extraordinary in terms of the feeling it creates. Let's look at him in greater detail. Next one, please. Infirm legs, spindly. He can't stand without the support of a staff. Nearly torn clothes. Next one, please. Little light in the eyes. Shoulder bent. Next one, please. And this. Can we go back 3 slides, please? Now look at this. The rest of the painting is all gloom. A kind of a dark, deep, greenish black, with the exception of this tiny little flower in the bottom right.
मैं एक गुरेजा लम्हा हूँ, मैं एक गुरेजा लम्हा हूँ अय्याम के अफसों खाने में। मैं एक तड़पता कतरा हूँ, मैं एक तड़पता कतरा हूँ मसरूफ सफ़र जो रहता है। माजी की सुराही के दिल से मुस्तकबिल के पैमाने में। मैं एक तड़पता कतरा हूँ मसरूफ सफ़र जो रहता है। माजी की सुराही के दिल से मुस्तकबिल के पैमाने में। मैं सोता हूँ और जागता हूँ, मैं सोता हूँ और जागता हूँ और जाग के फिर सो जाता हूँ। मैं सोता हूँ और जागता हूँ और जाग के फिर सो जाता हूँ। सदियों का पुराना खेल हूँ मैं, सदियों का पुराना खेल हूँ मैं मर के अमर हो जाता हूँ। सदियों का पुराना खेल हूँ मैं मर के अमर हो जाता हूँ, मैं मर के अमर हो जाता हूँ।
As we come to the end of our production of paying homage, let us not forget we want to thank you all who have joined us to pay this homage. But in this lockdown, to have 30 people giving us their tribute to help us to put it together and contributing as a collective voice of creativity, thinking of the idea of India, represented through a metaphor, a hisas, an essence called Kapila Vatsyayan. I want to thank each one who has made his contribution, and one of the two of the people whose writing you saw, and tribute you saw, Dr. Roger Lipsey from the United States, a very well-known art historian, and the iconic Dr. B.N. Goswami. I would like to thank those people who worked with us from behind. Translations, Dr. Harish Trivedi, Alka Kaushik. Videos, some of the videos by Ini Singh. The voiceover by Arun Das. And there are some voices who want to be silent, but they have made a major contribution. Last but not the least, Suruchi Jani and her team Atom Creation, without whom we could not have built this program as a homage, but also taken the opportunity to make the younger generation an entry point into the world of thought on the idea of India through this festival called Kapila Vatsyayan. Thank you, one and all. Kapilaji, long live Kapila Vatsyayan.